complete fool can get all knowledge in one moment. There are 1 week courses, there are 3-month courses. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can arrange for 1 second course or 1 minute course. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Okay, so because this is the Bhagavatam time, we can begin with a Bhagavatam verse here. So there are I can take it. Did we chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya? Did we chant Om Namo? No. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay. So there are some quotes from Rishabhadev here, from the 5th canto. Let me chant this one about defeat. Okay, it's quoted everywhere. So this is quoted in the 10th verse. Why is it not? 555. Okay, here it is. Okay, thank you. So we always say Jai Jai. Jai means victory. And here is the opposite. Parabhavastavada bodha jato.
Parabhavastavada bodha jato.
Yavam na jigyasata atma tattvam.
Yavan navikyasata atma tattvam.
Yavat kriyeta tavad. Yavat kriyastavadidam manovai.
Yavat kriyastavadidam manovai.
Karmatmakam yena sharira bandha.
Karmatmakam yena sharira bandha.
Okay, so this is 555. As long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life, Atma Tattva, one is defeated, Parabhavas, and subjected to miseries arising from ignorance. Be it sinful or pious, karma has its resultant actions. If a person is engaged in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatmaka, colored with fruitive activity. As long as the mind is impure, consciousness is unclear, and as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. Fruitive means I act with the purpose of enjoying the results of my actions, not with the purpose of producing the results, So yesterday we spoke about this cycle of karma. So when I act with the purpose of enjoying, that's called fruitive or suffering. It's called fruitive. So the problem is not the action itself. This is the classic mistake. We think that what creates the bondage is the action, but it's the action with the karmic or fruitive mentality. So then we try to renounce the action, and this also is not sufficient to recover our true state. So in the Bhagavatam, Rishabhadev says, Yavanna jigyasata, as long as you do not ask the question. What question? Atma Tattva. So what does it mean to ask about Atma Tattva? What does Rupa Goswami ask in Why I Suffer? And even probably before that, Who am I? Yes, this is what Sanatana Goswami asks from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who am I? Why am I suffering? Okay. So the answer can be received only when we are asking questions. Yeah. So questions oftentimes are more important than the the answer. So we hear the answer, but if you do not have the question, we will not absorb or digest the answer. Like also we can get good food, but if we have no digestion, it will not be metabolized. It will not be digested. So having good questions is the sadhana. We keep asking questions. So we know that bhakti is the ultimate answer. Devotional service to Krishna is both the ultimate activity of the soul and the method to achieve perfection. So loving service of Krishna. That's the eternal position of the living entity. So we have discussed the whole path. We have discussed the negative and the positive. You can get. So we have the beginning of the path, which is subtle. So Shri Radha Kund and the holy place Vrindavan. Yesterday we read the 8th verse with the essence of all advice, which one part of the answer, what is the essence of all advice, is to 24/7 think of Krishna all the time, then live at a holy place, and specifically in Vrindavan it says, yes. And one more was there. Following the footsteps, yes. So this is called raga anuga, following the path of spontaneous attraction for Krishna. So obviously, oftentimes we think we just need to move there, but the path begins inside, not just outside. So we have 6 urges we do not identify with. We have obstacles. We have the magic cures, and then when the heart is cured, we need a good company. We need to know how to interact with others. We need to know how to see others. So congratulations, your fast is over today. I don't know if it's a happy occasion or not so happy occasion. And then the nectar of the holy name and the spontaneous taste and attraction for staying in Vraj. So now we have the 3 verses. First, we have the hierarchy of different places, where to live in eternity, then what to do, and then and different personalities we can follow, and then the perfection of transformation is described in verse 11. The hierarchy of different places is described in verse 9. So why don't we read I don't know, I guess you will have... Shall I give you also this computer to read, or you will read from... Do you need this? You would prefer? Okay, let's chant. Just a second. Vaikuntajjanito varamadupuri tatrapirasotsavad vrindaranyamu varapaniramanat tatrapi govardhana radha kundamihapi gokulapate premamrita plavanad kuryadyasya virajato giritate sevam vivekinaka. So the text is, the holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. So a reason is given for each of the places. Superior to Mathura Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan, because of Krishna's Rasalila pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Shri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radhakund stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokula, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radhakund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? So we have the material world, and in the material world we are rotating, mostly repeating the same activities, and therefore after rotating and rotating we are looking for some higher purpose of our existence, and we may come to know not just about the Brahman effulgence, not just about the spiritual light of freedom, but also even more, fortunately, we may come to know about the spiritual planets, about the spiritual world, which is completely different to everything material. On the other side of the river Vaitarani, which is beyond the invisible, even Mahatattva. So that's Vaikuntha. But Mathura is higher. Why Mathura is higher? It is explained here. Because Krishna performs his pastime of taking birth. So the unborn Krishna is taking birth in Mathura. So he really must like Mathura. You know, something he doesn't have to do, something one never does. He's unborn, Aja, and then he takes birth in Mathura. So Mathura is very special. Who has been to Mathura Mandala? Okay, Hare Krishna. And then within the Mathura Mandala, you have, yes, so Mathura Mandala, we have a book by Srila Rupa Goswami, also Srila Rupa Goswami, where he gives different quotes from the scripture. So he says, if you take birth in Mathura, it's probably not so easy. Then if you die in Mathura, or Mathura Mandala, not just Mathura city, Mathura town, but the Mathura Mandala area, big area. If you die in Mathura, so this is what devotees frequently try to do. They go there to leave this world. It's extremely auspicious to leave this world in such a holy dham, holy place. And if one takes initiation there, that's probably the easiest. To take initiation there, then you become free from all sins. Hare Krishna. So that's a very powerful place, very special place. But within this Mathura Mandala, you have Vrindavan. So Vrindavan is described as higher. So it says here, it's higher because Vrindavan is higher because divine couple. Rasa Lila. Yeah, the Rasa Lila is performed there. So Rasa Lila is performed in Vrindavan, at Govardhan and in Vrindavan. So at Govardhan you have the more exclusive Rasa Lila, by Sri Krishna with a smaller circle of the gopis. Whereas in Vrindavan, you have this Sharat Purnima Rasa Lila, where all the gopis are invited. All the gopis are called. Krishna is playing the flute, and in this sound, everybody hears their own name. So every gopi hears her name. Yeah, Lalita, Rati, and then they all run to Krishna. So that's a very special place, very special occasion, full of very special love, unique love, full of exclusive sweetness. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that Krishna performs pastimes in three dhamas. The three dhamas are Dwaraka, Mathura, and Vrindavan. So in Dwaraka, Krishna performs pastimes that are 50-50, sweet and opulent, Madhurya and Aishwarya, 50-50. In Dwaraka, it's 75-25, 75 sweet, 25 opulent. So there is a lot of sweetness, Madhurya, just sweetness, and Vrindavan is just 100% Madhurya, 100% sweetness. So just Krishna as this sweet, charming personality, and nobody really even pays attention to the fact that he's God. Yeah, so you know that he wrestles with his friends, cowherd boys. Yes, and that's okay. Wrestling, you know, that's Prabhupada says this is a Vaishnava sport. But then sometimes he loses. The Supreme Invincible Lord loses. Yes, and then they have a rule that one who loses has to carry the opposing party. So in Vrindavan, Radharani's brother is Shridam, and in Vaikuntha, Shridam expands as anybody knows the personality right across from the entrance here? Garuda. Yeah, Garuda, that's the expansion of Shridam. So Shridam usually carries, that's the personal jet of Vishnu Narayan, the super bird Garuda. But in Vrindavan, Krishna carries Shridam. So outside Garuda carries Vishnu, and inside Vrindavan, Krishna, Vishnu carries Shridam. So it's just personal sweet pastimes. So the cowherd boys tell Krishna, okay, you lost, you have to carry one of us, one of the boys. As you may have read in the story about Pralambasvara, Pralambasvara was carrying Baladev because Pralambasvara was on Krishna's team. So Krishna was carrying Shridam and Pralambasvara was carrying Baladev, and so they were carrying after losing. So on this day, the cowherd boys told Krishna, okay, you need to carry. And Krishna on this day didn't want to carry the boys. So he said, no, I'm not going to carry any one of you, any of you. So they said, why not? He said, well, I am Vrajendra Sutta. I am the son of the king of Raj, Nanda Maharaj. They say, come on. What do you mean, the king of Raj? He just has like 1 million cows, and you just have a few more cows than us, and then, you know, you think you can break the rules of the game? No. You carry. So I said, no, I will not carry because I'm God. Oh yeah, now you're God. Okay. He said, no, I can prove. He said, well, okay, how will you prove? You need to see, you know, your Vaikuntha throne. You have to see all the angels and personified Vedas glorifying you. He said, okay, just close your eyes for a second. I will show. So they, okay, for 1 second. So they close their eyes open, and whew, he's sitting on the effulgent throne, huge throne, and there are all the effulgent personalities offering prayers, chanting hymns in front of him and worshipping him. All the divine personalities are worshipping him. So they look at this, and yeah, okay, that's actually true. We have this Akrura Ghat where this happens several times. Brahmahrada, such a darshan. So then Krishna stops this vision, and they say, okay, today we will let you skip it. But if tomorrow you do not carry, we will not play with you anymore. So it's not that they do not know he's God. They have perfect knowledge, but they do not even, how to say, this knowledge does not cover, does not overcome their love for Krishna as the personality. They know everything about Krishna. So when Arjuna sees the universal form, Vishvarupa of Krishna, he becomes a little scared. He said, "Oh, please forgive me, as the friend forgives the joke of a friend, as the wife forgives the husband forgives the familiarity of the wife, as master forgives something, the offenses." So he's listing all these. "Please forgive me my jokes. I was joking with you. I put my feet on your chest in Dwaraka, and when we were sleeping, taking our afternoon siesta." So we see that this Jai Shri Prahlad Nrsimhadev ki Jai. That even this is Dwaraka Lila. Yes, even there it will push back the rasa. But in Vrindavan they will see he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but it never covers his their sweet relationship with Krishna. So it's compared to the milk with blades of grass. You may have seen in Mayapur, the milkmen, they bring milk in big cans or pots, sometimes on a bicycle. Who has been to Mayapur? Who has seen these milkmen? So you might have seen there's a big can with milk, but because if you go, it will shake and sway and swing. It will move, right? And it sometimes might flow out. So therefore, they put hay or grass inside to help hold, to prevent the milk spilling. And then then he comes and they have probably something like a pint or half a liter measure, and so he will put you this milk. Yeah, and then sometimes a blade of grass will also get there. Yeah, so then you boil. So the example is that as you are boiling milk with this grass, then the grass will come up, but then it will go back down. So it never covers your relationship in Vrindavan. So this is Vrindavan. Vrindavan, therefore, is described or declared as higher than even Mathura. So this is Vaikuntha is like 100% Aishwarya, opulence. Dwaraka is 50-50. Mathura 75-25, and Vrindavan is 100% sweetness or madhurya, just personal charming relationship with Krishna. So this is why why in the Brahma Samhita, Brahma says Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So we worship Vrindavan Krishna, Vrindavan Govinda as the supreme.
Would just like to ask, is Vrindavan in the Mathura district, or how are
Yes.
the places located?
Yes, so we have Mathura Mandala, and in Mathura Mandala you have, Mathura Mandala is the same as Braja Mandala. These are the same places. But you have Mathura city in Braja Mandala. In Braja Mandala you have Mathura city. So sometimes it says Mathura, but the idea is that this is Vrindavan. So if you travel in India, it's, sometimes they will ask you, where are you from? Where are you from? So I know, in some places we say Vrindavan. They say, where? We say Vrindavan. Where is that? So they don't know where Vrindavan is sometimes. So you say Mathura Vrindavan. Mathura Vrindavan. Mathura Vrindavan, okay. But also sometimes they think Mathura is Madurai, the Mathura of the south. You might have heard, right? Sometimes they say Madurai is like Mathura of the south. You have the big Minakshi Mandir there, yes, in Madurai. With, there are some famous big temples there. So sometimes it will mention Mathura as the more famous. Vrindavan is still a little esoteric and secret. Yes. Some places on the contrary, they see your tilak, they look at your tilak, and they say Jai Radhe. Radhe, Radhe. They will say, yeah, because they see, this is a Mathura boy. Okay, that's a Radha Bhakta. Okay, Jai Shri Radhe, they will say. In the Himalayas, usually they will say. Sometimes in Puri, they will see and they say Jai Shri Radhe, just by seeing your tilak. They will say, Jai Shri Radhe. These people are from Vrindavan. They worship Srimati Radharani. Wow, what a sword. Let me see what that has. So Vrindavan is within, and also Vrindavan can refer to one area with the boyhood pastimes of Krishna, or it can refer also to the whole Braja Mandala. So these names can be used in different ways. But technically here we speak Madhupuri, the city of Mathura. Sure.
So here in this verse, is it related to, are they referring to like Mathura in the material world, right?
We will read. This is actually not as precise.
Because it is written like Krishna, where Krishna appeared. It's not like where Krishna is.
Yeah, well, yeah, but still, in the spiritual world, you also have Mathura. You also have leelas and pastimes. And Brihad Bhagavatamrita says that when Gop Kumar was traveling from the spiritual Goloka to the Gokula in the material world, he could not distinguish. He didn't see the difference between this and that. And he would have to remember, I traveled first towards Brahmaloka, and then came Indraloka. So this must be, I was going from that direction here. So I must be in Gokula here, in this universe. Or no, first was Indraloka, then Brahmaloka, and then Kailas. I was on the other side, I was in the, now I am in the Goloka Vrindavan, in the Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world. So he didn't see the difference. And ultimately, this is why these places are called not tirthas. There's a famous story how there was a big gathering of the holy tirthas. And who is the Tirtharaj, the Lord of all tirthas? Somebody knows? Tirtharaj, you know? Prayagraj, yes, Prayagraj. So Prayagraj organized a big Mela, Sammelan meeting, congress of the tirthas. And Vrindavan didn't come. So then Prayagraj came to Krishna and said, Lord, my Lord, we had the meeting and your Tirtha didn't come. Your Vrindavan didn't come. What is this? What does your Vrindavan think? So Krishna said, look, you had the Tirtha Mela, you had the meeting of the Tirthas, and my Vrindavan is my dham. That's my home. So therefore, it doesn't have to come to your gathering. It's a separate special place. There's a story how when Varahadev lifted Bhumi, he placed this on the Vrindavan, which was not flooded. When everything is flooded, Vrindavan stays, so there is some area that's indestructible. So in other words, it's actually an expansion of the spiritual world. All the tirthas are present in Vrindavan, all the holy places are there. You have Badrinath, Kedarnath, you have everything there. It's very sweet to visit all these holy places in Vrindavan, both in Vrindavan and outside. So these holy places, they are more than holy places. They are parts of the transcendental world. So this is very special, that the transcendental world can expand. There are holy places and there are expansions of the spiritual world, like the embassies. Yeah, if you make it to an embassy, you can take shelter. That's considered to be the territory of that other country. It's considered to be it's considered to be like if you go to the Indian embassy here, then it's considered to be part of India, even though this is Germany. So it's not a theory. It sounds like a theory, but this is something you can experience personally. If you get there, you feel it's a very different place. Everything is different. Vrindavan is different, but also other dhams. We have 4 super famous dhams in India. Dhamas, Prabhupada says, Rameshwaram in the south, Dwaraka in the west, Puri in the east, and Badrinath in the north. These are dhammas. They are expansions of the transcendental world. Like, I remember we went to Badrinath the first time when I went, and it was such an interesting experience. You have Joshimath, where Shankaracharya has his summer monastery, winter Badrinath, where he found Badrinarayan, very, very ancient deity, somewhere in a river, I think. And then, so we come to Joshimath, and then we start moving to Badrinath in the summer. It was plus 50 above zero down in the off the mountains, and then from Joshimath you move higher, and then you see 2 rows of mountains on 2 sides who are like, the guards guarding the entrance to some different realm, and these tall mountains are looking at you and watching, are you moving? And then in a small bus along the Alakananda Ganga, you're moving forward, and they are looking at you, and you're moving higher, and then poof, at the end you see the Badrinath mountains, Naranarayan mountains there, and then the bus starts going up, and then you enter the plateau, and it's 50 and sun below, and there snow is falling. And you feel it's different. It's a completely different world. It's a different area, different mood, everything is different. You are entering a part of a Dham. And Vrindavan, it's also such a extremely special Dham, which is not only transcendental, but also very sweet. So, therefore, what we want to enter aprakrita Dham. We want to have aprakrita, not non-material residence. Whether it's here or in the spiritual world, that's the purpose, to move to the different realm, to the different world. So here in this purpose, Srila Prabhupada says, the spiritual world is 3/4 of the total creation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it is the most exalted region. So this world is considered ekapad. That is 3-pad vibhuti, 3/4 of the Lord's opulence, and this world is considered to be only 1/4 of the Lord's opulence. I have a personal question about it, 1/4 and 3/4, but I will speak about this in a moment. Björn, Prabhu, did you have also some question? Okay. So for many years I was thinking, 3/4, and this world is 1/4. For decades I was wondering, how can this small material world be given so much, like 1/4, 25%? That's too much. Yeah, why is it so big? Like in one place, Prabhupada says that 90% of the jivas in the spiritual world never come to the material world. 90% never come. Only 10% of the jivas in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, may sometimes visit this material world, fall or visit or whatever. So why 1/4? Why so much? 1/4? So for years I was wondering, what does it mean? 1/4? Why so much energy for this little cloud in the spiritual world? I was asking different devotees. I think I asked Suhotra Swami when he was around. I asked Bhakti Purna Maharaj. I asked different devotees. And then finally, sometimes you need to keep your question for 25 years before you get the answer. Finally, my friend Bhakti Swarup Chaitanya Maharaj, he brought me Paramatma Sandarbha to that Gauranga festival in Karpati where you were present. And there I open and Jiva Goswami says, why 3/4 and 1/4? She says, because it means the 3 opulences and 1 opulence. From explained in the Bhagavatam 2.6.19. in the spiritual world you have three opulences. Amritam kshemam abhayam. Nectar, all happiness and fearlessness. Amritam kshemam abhayam, fearlessness. Which is connected to Sat Chit Ananda. So the spiritual world is eternity, knowledge and bliss. And in this material world you have only one quarter, only one of these, which is existence. And even this existence, Sat, is broken again and again. People die. And if it's broken again and again, where is the question of fearlessness and bliss? Satchidananda, these are three opulences. And here you have only Sat, existence, but it's also broken. So the other are not manifest here. Okay, so this is Vaikuntha is higher than all the material worlds. Mathura is higher than the Vaikuntha because Krishna performs his lila, pastime of taking birth. Vrindavan is higher because of the Rasa lila. And then two more, we have Govardhan and we have Radhakund. Govardhan is even higher because Krishna performs his very sweet pastimes. So Govardhan lila is Krishna's favorite lila, you know? You know why? Yes, because all his devotees are together for 7 days. Because in Vrindavan, there is nobody who doesn't have to have separation from Krishna. You know, cowherd boys are with Krishna in the daytime, right? And the parents are suffering. Oh, Krishna went to the forest. So they keep sending him sandesh, pakora, laddu. They send some juice, some drink all the time. And they have constant communication. And then in the evening, Krishna is coming, and then in the night he goes to dance with the gopis, and then the cowherd boys in the night, they wake up and they think, it's probably the time to go to Krishna into the forest. They run to Krishna's, to Nandagram's, to Nanda Maharaja's palace, and they say, Krishna, let's go to the pastures. Mother Yashoda opens the window and says, boys, it's midnight, go sleep. Oh, really? Sorry, mom. And they go back and they sleep, and then they just fall asleep and they wake up. Probably time. Yeah, maybe it's already time. They again run. Can you go to the forest, Krishna? Yashoda says, go sleep. We will call you. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You sleep more. So they miss Krishna in the night. The gopis miss in the day. Parents in this time. So everybody is having only one part. But on the Govardhan, for 7 days, everybody is together. The cows and the boys, the girls, all the devotees of Vrindavan. So Govardhan is very special. And Radhakund, so this is also a very special and very unique place. It's the most esoteric, and the most esoteric place, the most secret place of pastimes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made special effort to find Radhakund. So here we have a little story how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found Shri Radhakund when he visited Vrindavan. I remember once I was returning to our temple, Krishna Balaram, from going to downtown Vrindavan, and I was walking down the Bhaktivedanta Marg, and there was some local villager riding on a horse cart. So he had a horse and there was a cart. He was carrying something, I don't remember what. So oftentimes they say, hey, hop on. You know, he's overtaking you, and he said, hey, hop on, I will give you a ride. I will give you a lift. So I said, no need. I said, no money, just sit on my cart and we'll go to your ISKCON temple. So I sat on his cart, and so we are riding on this horse cart, and he's saying, so how do you like Vrindavan? And I say, well, I like Vrindavan very much. मैं सोच रहा हूँ ये सबसे अच्छा जगह है, सब दुनिया में सबसे अच्छा जगह है. I think it's the best place in the world. So, yeah, Vrindavan is good. And he says, but Govardhan is higher, and Radhakund is even higher. I thought, whoops. So, okay, it's just, like a simple farmer, he's quoting Rupa Goswami to me on a horse cart. I mean, in India, you don't have simple people. I mean, you have simple people, but you never know who will quote some shastra to you, some very high, very esoteric verse they will quote to you. So, like a very simple farmer, just going on the horse cart, and then he's quoting one of the most esoteric verses about different places. So that's that's our hierarchy of places in Vrindavan, in the spiritual world. Okay, and now we have two more, the persons and processes, verse 10, and then verse 11, the final glorification and summary. Let's chant verse 10. Karmibhya parito hare priyataya vyaktim yayurgyanina stebhyo gyana vimukta bhakti parama premaikanishtastata tebhyasta pasupala pankajadrishas tabhyopi saradhika preshtatadvadiyam tadiya sarasi tam nasrayet kakriti. Let's read the translation together. In the Shastra, it is said that of all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people, let's read together. Out of many such people, you have English? Who has the English? Who are advanced in knowledge, Gyanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her Kunda lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radhakund and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings, aprakrita bhava, render loving service to the divine couple Sri Sri Radha Govinda, who perform their Ashtakaliya Lila, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes? Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radhakund are the most fortunate people in the universe. Shri Shri Radhakund ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Govinda ki jai. So you have the famous story how Bhakti Siddhantaji saw some devotees from another sampradaya visiting Radhakund, and he tells his disciples that they worship Radharani because Radharani is very dear to Krishna. But we worship Krishna because he is very dear to Srimati Radharani. That's why we worship Krishna, because he is very dear to Srimati Radharani. So this is sort of a secret that there are Shaktas who worship Shakti Durga. But in one place, Acharyas are saying we are Shuddha Shaktas. We worship Krishna's supreme Shakti, Srimati Radharani. We worship the supreme Devi, Srimati Radharani. But in the pure, for pure devotional service, not for any other purpose. So this is some of the most esoteric topics. Now here you have the gradation, the hierarchy of practitioners, hierarchy of good people. So a karmi is a good person. Why? He acts according to Shastra, yes. He acts according to Shastra says, give charity. Shastra says, fast, be clean, and he follows, right? So he's a good person. That's glorious. So you can see that already they are dear already to Krishna. So they are all dear. You can read. This is the list of people who are dear to Krishna. So all of them are dear to Krishna. But from the karmis, one who has knowledge about spirit is more dear. In Vrindavan 75, Prabhupada says, we criticize the Mayavadis, but they are higher than the karmis. Okay, so then Gyanis are higher, but if someone is free from the material bondage by Jnana and becomes attracted to Bhakti, then they are even more dear. This is like the Kumaras who smell Tulsi and become attracted to Krishna. So they are even more dear to Krishna. And then among them, Premaika Nishtas, those who are fixed in Prema, like Narada Muni, is even more dear to Krishna. And then among many Premaika Nishtas, among many Premika devotees, full of Prema, then Pashupala Pankaja Drisha. Pashupala, like Pashu means animals, Pala protector. So these are same as Gopala, but Pankaja Drisha, lotus-eyed protectresses of cows. So these are gopis. So they are even more dear than the other devotees, the gopis. And then from them, Srimati Radhika is the supreme devotee. So much so that Krishna tells, I cannot pay back. I cannot fulfill my promise, he says. He promises, Yeyat hamam prapadyante. How devotees surrender to me, so I reciprocate. But to the gopis, he said, sorry, I cannot give you the same that you have given me. So therefore, please be happy with your own virtue. Yes? Can you say it again, please? Dependence and surrendering. Yes? Yeah. Yes, so that means they trust, they accept Goptritva Varanam Tata. So they accept Krishna as their beloved Lord. Always dependent, totally dependent. Yes. So yes, surrender, this is the supreme surrender, according to Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna says that they are so unique, and he cannot even fully understand their position. So this is why he comes as Lord Chaitanya, to understand the depth of Srimati Radharani's love for him, to understand. So the description is that he was surprised that I am the Supreme Lord, but Srimati Radharani has, by serving me, has 10 million times higher bliss. So how is this possible? So he therefore comes as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to understand these esoteric truths. These are his internal reasons for appearing. And the very special Radhakund lake is as dear to Krishna because this is the place of these very special pastimes. So let us get up and raise our hands and say, What was your question, Björn, Prabhu?
My question was, recently we read Govardhan Lila, and in the description it was said that before they worshipped Govardhan, they offered food and distributed amongst the brahmanas and even the dogs and so on. And so this question came up if they also worship Vishnu, or like whom the Vrishvasis worship, and before like Vishnu, and if it also if they also worship Vishnu in the spiritual world. That was the question. What was coming up?
Yes. Narayan is the deity of Nanda Maharaj. They worship Narayan. So it's like someone asked, I think Shachinanda Maharaj tells this story, how he was, I'm not sure if it was he saw that the Brijbasis who live in Vrindavan, who love Krishna, and they worship Lord Shiva. So he asked, why are you worshipping Lord Shiva? Why not Krishna? So they said, Krishna is like our relative. We don't worship. You don't worship your relatives. He's like our dear close relative. So we worship Lord Shiva for blessings, right? So it's a different mood. So in other words, we worship the Supreme. Here we worship the Supreme. We need to worship the Supreme. But they have already worshipped the Supreme. They just have loving exchanges with the Supreme. So they will worship Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu, sometimes Lord Shiva, Shrimati Radharani. Like I remember I was asking Bhaktivedanta Purna Maharaj, I said, I'm doing Surya Namaskar as the yoga exercise. Is it okay? Or is it like demigod worship? I said, no, Radharani worships Surya every day. She goes to Surya Kund and she worships Lord Surya. So that's fully authorized. Surya Narayan, okay, there is Surya Narayan. I mean, there is a lot of very special pastimes. So there are descriptions of how Nanda Maharaj is worshipping Lord Narayan. This is their family deity, Lord Narayan. Sometimes they worship Lord Shiva as the source of blessings. We have near Nandagram, we have Asheshwar Mahadev, who Nanda Maharaj was worshipping to get some special blessings. But this is Vrindavan, like also Sandipani Muni, the guru of the Gurukul where Krishna was studying in Avantipur. He is described as a Shaiva Bhakta, the worshipper of Lord Shiva. So why? Because again, it would be a mixture of rasas if his worshipable Lord came to study with him. Right? So there are considerations of tattva. Who is the Supreme Lord? Who is his next expansion? So there is Krishna expanding as Baladev, expanding as Sankarshan, Mahasankarshan, expanding as Chaturvyuha, Vasudeva, Niruddha, Pradyumna, and another Sankarshan, and then Lord Shiva and then there is Sadashiva in the spiritual world, then Lord Shiva to create the material world here, so different expansions. This is tattva. And then there is rasa, the relationships, how to engage in relationships with the Lord. There, Narayan is the name for some Vaikuntha form of, it could be one of those expansions. All of them can be called Narayan.
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes, some devotees who come to this temple, they're a little bit surprised. It's like, this is not a typical ISKCON temple. Mm-hmm. But with Ramananda, we were talking the other day that, the Brijvasis they also worship Nrsimhadev.
Yes.
So we are in the mood of the Brijvasis worshiping Nrsimhadev and missing Radha Madan Mohan.
Yes. Yeah, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that you can see some devotees say, "Oh, why do you worship Nrsimhadev? We just want to worship Radha Krishna." But Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Navadvip Dham Mahatmya, he writes that we will worship Lord Nrsimhadev, asking him, like you can see, he has a big club, and he has chakra, and he has sword. He has a huge sword, actually. So with this sword, he can cut all the ignorance. And with this club, he can smash the mountain of sin in our hearts. So we worship Lord Nrsimhadev, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, to remove all the obstacles in our heart to pure love for Radha Krishna. So that's also very much part of our advancement in our worship. Thank you. Okay, so we had the hierarchy of places, then hierarchy of personalities and modes of worship, or moods of worship. Srila Prabhupada also mentions the mood of separation, which is a very unique, very special mood. Why would you, if you love Krishna, why do you want to be separated? This is... But again, this is a very esoteric subject in the 10th canto. In Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada says this is a very special secret revealed by the 6 Goswamis, who would usually worship Krishna in this mood of separation. And you can see that this is sometimes what Krishna bestows upon the gopis to deepen the intensity of their relationship. It says that when Krishna is with them, they see Krishna only in one place, but when they are separated, they see Krishna everywhere. They remember Krishna wherever they look. So it's more intense, it's very intense. More intense ecstasy. Of course, it's based on meeting. So we have a book by Guru Govinda Maharaj, the cloud bank of separation. So there are 2 banks. For a river to flow, you have to have 2 banks, right? So you have to keep the water in between. So this separation is some secret way of reciprocating. Krishna has this reciprocation with the Brijbasis and with the gopis. So obviously, we don't want to worship Krishna so that we do not have association with him. Krishna, we worship you. What do you want? We want to not have you. Huh? Really? Be separated with you. You're already separated, right? So that is the wave. This is the intensification of our relationship with Krishna. So there is meeting, and then there is separation, then there is meeting, then there is another separation, and so it increases more and more. And some devotees will not like it. Some devotees will say, no, we want only eternal marriage or only eternal meeting. But even though sometimes some devotees do not really want this, Krishna will sometimes just disappear to intensify the ecstasy of his devotees. So it's like having some hot, spicy or bitter sabji or part dishes with your meal, so that it increases your appreciation and capacity to digest more. So this is what Prabhupada says in the purport about Vipralamba Seva. There is no difference between thinking of Krishna and associating with him. Rather, Vipralamba Seva, thinking of Krishna in separation, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, is far better than serving Krishna directly. Thus, of all the devotees who have developed unalloyed devotional love for Krishna, the gopis are most exalted, and out of all these exalted gopis, Srimati Radharani is the highest. No one can excel the devotional service of Srimati Radharani. Indeed, even Krishna cannot understand the attitude of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, he took her position and appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just to understand her transcendental feelings. So that's verse 10, and the last verse, verse 11, describing the perfection of this treasure quest. Krishnasyo chai pranaya vasati preyasibhyo piradha kundam chasya munibir abitas tadrigeva vyadhai yat preshtairapyalamasulavam kim punar bhakti bhajam tat premedam sakridapi saras naturavishkaroti. Of the many objects of favored delight and of all the lovable damsels of Rajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love. And in every respect, her divine Kunda is described by great sages as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radhakund is very rarely attained even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once within those holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. So Prabhupada quotes here that this is the most important item in the execution of devotional service. Srila Rupa Goswami recommends that even if one cannot live permanently on the banks of Radhakund, he should at least take a bath in the lake as many times as possible. So this is the highest place. So should we all move to Radhakund? Yes. Yeah, Govinda Prabhu says yes. And how do we move? Maybe not really like physically, but internally, right? In our heart. Who has taken bath in Radhakund? Okay. Who has sprinkled some water on the head? Yes. I remember when I came there to Vrindavan, this was just when this Radhakunda, how was this Mahima Madhuri, the Sweet Glories of Radhakund was published. And there was a big explanation why it's very important to take bath in Radhakund. But the mood there at that time was not to take bath, but just take some drops on the head. So it was very fortunate. Srila Gopal Krishna Maharaj was giving his evening Bhagavad Gita class in Prabhupada's room. So after the class, I said, Guru Maharaj, tomorrow we go to Radhakund, can I take bath? And he said, you can just take one drop on your head. No need to take bath. Okay, I felt, so then Guru Maharaj went out and he was walking. So I approached and said, Guru Maharaj, and what if I take bath respectfully? Can I go and take bath respectfully? I said, okay, you can take bath. Even though, as far as I know, he never takes bath himself there in Radhakund. And one of my friends, Damodar Charan, he said he was asking his Guru Maharaj, Raghunath Maharaj, both publicly and personally and privately and confidentially. He said, no, 3 drops. So what do? No blessing. How do you go take bath? You don't go take bath. But the idea is that this is in the spiritual body, because it says even Narada Muni cannot take bath there easily. So that means take bath in the sense of within your rasa. So in a favorable way for your rasa. So whether you go and take bath, and this is an amazing experience, usually, or you take a few drops, or whichever way you do this is very fortunate. The main idea is that you try to set the proper goal, have the proper motives, have the proper mood, because one's advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on one's attitude. Yeah? So this whole book describes the attitudes, different attitudes of devotees and how to advance. And sometimes we have taken bath in Radhakund many times and still no love, right? So what to do then? If you still have not attained success?
Jump from Govardhan.
Jump from Govardhan. More healing herbs, okay. Yeah, so study the map, because it's not just physical, right? So this is the map. This is how you enter. So again, you see, did I enter in did I find the beginning of the path? did I follow the path? Yeah. So did I actually enter? Do I have the understanding? So study the Upadeshamrita. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he was there at Radhakund, he was teaching Upadeshamrita. He was teaching Upadeshamrita. He was teaching, I think, Ishopanishad. So he was teaching how the Shastras which help us become purified and reach Radhakund and attain the mercy of the Lord. So, Shri Upadeshamrita ki jai, Shri Radhakund ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The spontaneous flow of love for Shri Radha Krishna in Vrindavan ki jai. Any questions? He says that some say first take bath in Lalita Kund. Actually, there are different. I mean, this whole story of Radha Kund appearance. You know this when Arishtasura was killed, and then the gopis made joke, said, "We will not touch you, kill the bull." So then Krishna, and what should I do? They said, "Okay, bathe in all the holy waters." So Krishna puts the hill and creates Shyamakund, and all the holy waters come and enter Shyamakund. So then the gopis say, "Okay, so now you are purified." And he says, "But now I will not embrace you because you criticized me for killing a demon." So killing a demon was the proper act, Arishtasura. So now you have to become purified. So and then the gopis created Radhakund, and they said, "We will carry water from Manasi Ganga ourselves." But Krishna just, sent a thought, and all the holy places from Radhakund approached Srimati Radharani and said, "Can we enter Radhakund?" And so they all entered Radhakund. So they are two together, Shyamakund and Radhakund. So the actual procedure is that you come, take bath in Shyamakund, then take bath in Radhakund, then take bath in Shyamakund again. That's the very classic procedure. Shyamakund, Radhakund, Shyamakund, or at least Shyamakund, Radhakund. As you know, if you follow such rules. But then when you read this story about Shyamakund and Radhakund, it says that Krishna says, one who takes bath in Radhakund will be very dear to Krishna, and one who takes bath in Shyamakund will be very dear to Srimati Radharani. So I would sometimes wonder, that what's more important to us? Radhakund is glorified, but it looks to me that Shyamakund gives an even more important blessing, right? Because he can become dear to Srimati Radharani. So what can be better than that? So if somebody has not been sort of given the blessing to take bath in Radhakund, why not go take bath in Shyamakund? It's the same water actually. There is a channel underneath connecting Shyamakund and Radhakund. And then you can be dear to Srimati Radharani. And then that's the perfection of all the existences, perfection of life. But yes, it's surrounded by the kundas of the 8 principal sakis of Srimati Radharani, and their manjaris. So Lalita is the guru, Lalita is the saki who is the mistress or swamini of Rupa Manjari, who is coming as Rupa Goswami. So therefore, she's Lalita Guru, she's Radharani's Guru. And we are actually followers of Rupa Goswami, and so therefore that's our line. Going through Lalita Gopi. Okay.
I have 2 questions to the questions.
Questions to the questions.
No,
Good.
just the last two questions. Define Vipralamba Seva. What do you want to hear from us? The Seva and separation, or is there more in detail? I can't remember, we discussed.
Srila Prabhupada writes, Vipralamba Seva is thinking of Krishna in separation. And then he says that it's even higher. So just if give one word definition and then maybe mention that this is the highest special ecstasy.
Where was this written? In which paper?
At the end of verse 10.
And describe the hierarchy of the spirit. Sorry. What reason does Rupa Goswami give for the gopis being exalted above all advanced devotees?
This was Vito Prabhu's question, that they are fully dependent. They take full shelter and they fully depend on Krishna as their beloved Lord. That's how Srila Prabhupada explains.
I thought you want to have some more specific, I don't know. Okay, good.
So the questions you can find at this tiny.cc/NOI prep. You have the questions there. The exam we will have tomorrow, something like 8:15 or 8:20, right? Advaita Sima Prabhu?
Depends on you, we can give a short class, so how much time we need for the exam? Is it 1 hour?
Some people will finish in like 15-20 minutes, some people will need about 1 hour. You always have somebody writing everything in 15 minutes and somebody writing everything in 1 hour. So please come for the exam, at least see the questions. Now, yes, how many people need German questions? Questions in German. In German. In German, 1, 2, 3, 3. 3 tests in German, yes? Now, who needs in Ukrainian or Russian? In Ukrainian? 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, right? Maybe somebody, maybe those. Okay, I will ask. The rest in English, yes? So sometimes devotees are saying, we are writing, we don't need the diploma, so we will not write the exam. But if you don't need the diploma, it's so much better, because you can write the exam without attachment to results. Right? As the Canadian-Ukrainian hockey player Gretzky said, you miss 100% of shots you didn't take. Right? Because if you at least try, there's a chance you will score the goal. But if you don't even try, that you miss 100% of those shots, or these goals. So we write, again, this is just a meditation on Krishna. So please, especially if you do not have the Bhakti Sastri yet, please come. Maybe you can collect one more certificate for the Bhakti Sastri. Tomorrow, 8:15, we will so who's giving the Bhagavatam class? Advaita Sima Prabhu?
You?
Me, okay.
I mean, it's practical, I think.
Like wrap up at the end, okay. So, yeah, 7:45 we will have a short Bhagavatam class, and then we will have the Upadeshamrita exam. Okay. So there will be some questions, maybe about 10 questions on the piece of paper. Just please bring your pen. Yes, and paper. Maybe we probably can provide paper, right, for writing. Then the essays I got already from many of you on either online sent or on paper. The essays, maybe I need to clarify that we still follow this British system, that 100% is practically something impossible, I mean non-existent, that if it's good it will be above 50, above 60. If it's super good it will be 80, 85, like the American system of getting an A. This means 85 and higher. Or like in the 12 12-point system, it's 10, right? So 10 and higher. So therefore, do not mind if it's not 100%. 100% for essays. For the exams, that's you can get 100%. Also more, but you can't really give more. So 100% is what you can write. And whatever you get, this is a nice meditation on Krishna. So please come tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and so we will write this exam on the Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also had Bhakti Sastri, a very elaborate Bhakti Sastri, but his exams were happening every year. You had to write another exam every year, again and again, because if you know, you know. And if you don't, well, please review. You have the questions. You can reread. If you know the texts, the verses, then you will probably be able to answer. Please be careful about the questions. Read the questions carefully. There will be some verse from the first 3 verses to write down. You can also write other verses to maybe get bonus points, extra points. If you can't write, you can recite them separately. We can arrange aloud. We can discuss this, but you can write as the way you remember the verse. Just the first 3 verses are to be memorized for this exam. Okay?
So how many tests we need to print them, no?
Yes.
We know and we print them?
I will probably prepare, so we need, again, like 4 German, right? Or also German. Eva, that, okay. I can print a Slovak, I think. I have a Slovak also. Or German is okay.
Slovak, she said
Huh?
last time.
Huh?
Slovak.
Yeah, okay. So 1 Slovak and 4 Germans, 4 German tests, right? And then English, I'll probably, so 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, so several. You're not coming? Which language do you write?
I was only half of the course I was here.
You still have the whole day to study. Okay, so that's our 1-week adventure on the treasure map, studying the treasure map. And the good thing about this treasure map that you can enter this path towards that leads us towards the highest treasure in all the worlds. You can enter this beautiful path described in the Upadeshamrita inside your heart. Inside your heart. But we get the guidance from the merciful books of Srila Prabhupada, who gives light, and then he guides from our heart with the devotees, in relationship with other devotees, proper interaction in devotional service, private, our internal bhajan and external service to the mission. And this way we can advance on this very esoteric path of devotional advancement. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prahlad Nrsimhadev ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.